Hello and welcome back to Acts with Ashley, the reflective series on the Acts of the Apostles. This week I'll be starting to reflect on a few verses from chapter 2. Acts chapter 2 verses 1 to 4. When the day of Pentecost had come, they were all together in one place, and suddenly from heaven there came a sound like the rush of a violent wind, and it filled the entire house where they were sitting. Divided tongues as of fire appeared among them, and a tongue rested on each of them. All of them were filled with the Holy Spirit and began to speak in other languages as the Spirit gave them ability. Pentecost was an important day for Jews. It occurred 50 days after Passover. Jews from all over would come to sacrifice in the temple and give thanks for the law. During this festival, Luke says the disciples hear the sound of a strong wind blowing coming from heaven, and this noise filled the house they were staying in. Wind is often used to describe the power of the Holy Spirit. Then they see tongues of fire which separated, and the tongues rested on each of the disciples. We know from Exodus that God uses fire to make his presence known. At that moment, each of the disciples was filled with the Holy Spirit and began to speak in a different language. This is reminiscent of the Tower of Babel in Genesis, although instead of the disciples being punished for their pride and hubris, each of the disciples spoke in different languages, so the foreign visitors in Jerusalem could understand them. This was a divine gift from God to aid the church in its early growth.